Alright guys, today was a monumental day in internet history. After several months in the making, today was finally the day of the Area 51 raid. Now according to some sources, some official sources you might see, the raid was a failure. No one was allowed in. However, I have a source that I'm not going to disclose that says otherwise, because there was one man who was able to get inside of the Area 51 base. And this morning on my doorstep, I found a package. A package covered in blood, bullet holes, and some other mysterious substances I couldn't identify. And inside this package, I've been told, is a downscaled replica of what this man found inside of Area 51. Now there's a lot of theories people have as to what's really being hidden in there. Some of the more boring realistic people out there might say that it is some kind of prototype military aircraft. The more interesting people would say maybe it's some kind of mecha. And then the true intellectuals out there, well, they're hoping for those real-life anime cat girls. But I don't think anyone was expecting to see all three. Alright, that's probably the dumbest intro bit I've ever done for a video. It's Kairos. We're talking about the VFG-31A Kairos from Aoshima. So hello and welcome to Channel 2S everybody. I'm your host, Second Soundwave, and because this top secret artifact was smuggled directly out of Area 51, unfortunately, you cannot purchase it at New Type HQ. However, New Type does have a small assortment of Megami devices, frame arms girls, things like that. So if you want to buy any of those, down at the link below, it does help out the channel, especially if you use code Channel2S for 10% off your order. Alright guys, so this is the VF-31A Kairos Variable Fighter Girl from Aoshima. This is part of their Aoshima character kit selection, which I had never heard of before. I had never even really heard of this company before I saw this model, outside of knowing that they do like some ships and planes and sort of more traditional model kits. Now this is a licensed Macross model, so those of you who are actually fans of Macross, aka not me, will actually recognize what this is and probably know the original mecha that it's based off of. To me though, it's just a cool plane robot with a anime cat girl in the middle of it. Kotobuki has really been knocking it out of the park lately with some really cool, very popular mecha girl kits, and Bandai's been kind of throwing their hat into the ring as well with the Figurized Standard line, as well as a few kind of hit or miss kits in the high-grade Build Fighters line. So I'm interested in seeing how this company that's a little bit less experienced in making these type of models is going to handle this type of kit. And also there is quite literally, at the time that I'm making this, not a single English review of this model on the entire internet, and that's just not right. I mean, look at her. Look at this face. This is a girl who deserves a review. So on the side of the box, we can see a little bit of what we're getting ourselves into. This is a fully transforming Macross kit and a sort of frame arms girl style mecha girl in the same package. So you can have the plane and the girl separately, and then the plane can turn into a walker that she can ride on top of, or it can turn into a full-on mech suit for her. She does come with a variety of very cute, expressive faces, and because this isn't a Bandai kit, it doesn't have the MSRP next to the barcode. However, I can tell you that this was kind of an expensive kit. I think it's a little bit overpriced, honestly, although my opinion might change once I build it. This is, I believe, around a $75 to $80 kit, which is a lot. In fact, the only reason I even considered picking this up was because I found it for almost 60% off. It was quite cheap. With that said though, let's crack open the box and see what we have inside. Alright, so here we have the contents of the box. Now this is a non-Bandai kit, which means there probably will be a little bit of painting required, so I am prepared for that. The first thing I notice when I look at these parts is that the bag these are in is super, super thin cellophane. In fact, some of the bags are actually already falling apart. And this isn't even like a used kit or anything, it's just not very sturdy plastic. I can literally just peel this one right apart and get to the parts inside. The plastic of the model itself though, feels pretty nice. It is a little bit more rigid than what I'm used to from Bandai. I would not be surprised if this is maybe a little bit more brittle, so I am going to be careful when I'm putting this together. I believe it's still polystyrene though, so I'm assuming that any paints that I could use with Gunpla would probably still work with this. And there are a lot of bags of parts in here. I'm not going to go through all of them. You can see this one is also already falling apart. I'm just going to set that over here, along with these and these. And there's a lot of parts for this kit, so I think this will be quite a long build. And now we're getting to some of the interesting stuff. So here's a bag that's just a whole bunch of hands. Now the hands are going to require a bit of painting. She is supposed to have some white fingerless gloves on with just her fingertips peeking through, so that's going to have to be done up. I don't know if I'm going to do that for all the hands. I feel like I should probably do it for whatever main hands I have with her, otherwise she's going to have these weird seams on her fingers. The faces for the model are pre-painted, which is a very welcome sight because doing these little eye decals and the little cheek blush and all that stuff is kind of a pain in the ass. It's certainly doable, and I've seen kits before where they do have you apply the eyes as water slides, but I'm definitely glad to see that this is one where they give you everything kind of already done for the faces. In the very bottom of the box, we have some clear pieces on a little cardboard support. There's some clear orangish, or I guess it's kind of more of a clear pink for some energy bits, and then we have a clear cockpit that I think isn't actually supposed to be clear. I might paint that some other color, maybe like an orange or a blue or something. So we're on the bottom of the box now, looking at the decals, and this has a lot of decals. So this water slide sheet here, and yes, this is a real water slide sheet, so it's got that up on a Bandai kit. It's, I would say, about half the size of the front of the manual, so definitely a really big sheet. We have some little Ace Pilot markings, some eyes in case you're painting the kit, some really cool little logos and emblems, a lot of stuff you can use to customize your kit. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty crazy. I mean, you don't see this many markings on a Bandai kit. Fortunately though, that's all we have to go through, so there shouldn't be too much left. Oh, okay. So this is the second marking sheet. This is some details for the plane. We have some white parts, some blue parts. So it's got a couple pretty big sheets of markings, but nothing too crazy, so I think we can move on to the manual now. Okay, so this is the second sheet of markings for the plane. We have some that look like they're supposed to go around the nose and cockpit area, but fortunately, thankfully, that's all the markings this kit has, so we can move right onto the manual, and god damn it. Okay, so this is the final sheet of stickers. This is just some foil stickers like you'd see with any Bandai Gunpla. There's little green lines, there's some black pieces. Can we just move on to the manual now, please? So here's the manual for the kit, miniature version of the box art. I'm gonna move this box out of the way so you can see the manual a little bit better. Here in the back, we can see a stickering guide. The inside of the manual looks very much the same as a Bandai instruction manual. It uses the same lettering and numbering pattern to identify the parts, so I don't think I'll have any trouble building this kit. The instructions look pretty clear. I am noticing some parts forming going on with the transformation, which is a little disappointing, but seeing as this is a Macross mecha and those tend to have really complicated transformations, I'm not really that surprised. After all, you wouldn't want this thing to be a repeat of the RG Zeta Gundam, now would you? I do appreciate that, like with the newer Bandai kits, the manual is written in both Japanese and English, which makes this thing pretty easy to read. So that's the manual, but there's one last thing I want to show you that's in the box for this kit, because I think this is really cool, and this is something I really wish Bandai would include with their kits. So we have this sheet of paper in the bottom that on one side has a coloring guide that just shows you some different alternate paint jobs you can do on the model. But then on the other side, we have a full-size print of the box art without the text and logos in front of it. Bandai, if you do this for all your kits from now on, I will literally love you forever. I've made it no secret in the past that I absolutely love Gunpla box art. It's pretty much my favorite thing ever. In fact, I actually just bought a couple art books that are basically just Gunpla box art. So this really is exactly my kind of thing. And Bandai, if you learned nothing else from this video that you're almost definitely not watching, maybe consider doing this with your future kits. My desk is just an absolute mess right now. It's getting late, so I'm gonna have to end this video and clean this stuff all up. There's a lot of plastic here. I'm really looking forward to building this kit. I'm really looking forward to doing a video on it because this is a kit that no one's really talking about, and I think it looks really cool. Because there's almost no reviews of anything from this line in general and none at all for this particular model, I am definitely looking forward to getting it out to you guys. But in the meantime, I'm your host, Second Soundwave. Thanks for watching. Check out New Type HQ in the description below, and don't forget to use code Channel2S for 10% off your purchase. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and as always, I'm your host, Second Soundwave, and I'll see you next time. Take care, guys.